A new study from Pornhub has some surprising findings. Now, the study looked at data on anonymous viewers' viewing habits and focused on what women were looking for in porn, essentially what women wanted from their porn. According to Pornhub's introduction to the data, quote, by segmenting by gender within our analytics tools, we were able to generate anonymized data that brings us one step closer to answering the time-old question, what do women want? What do women want? According to the data, the top category for women in porn was lesbian. Now let's go through some of the top categories for what women and men looked at when it came to porn. Top categories for porn. On the women's side, we have lesbian at the highest, followed by gay, man, and teen being third. For men, teen is at the top, MILF is second, and then you have mature. Interesting. So what about top searches? Now, top searches for women start out as lesbian, then threesome, and then squirt. Interesting. Top searches for men, let me pull up the graph here. Top searches for men are teen, MILF, mom, and stepmom. Okay. All right. That's fascinating. There's and look, there's a lot of categories and searches that are, interesting searches to say the least. So let's go to what categories women view more than men. Well, let's take a look at this. Top categories for women is much higher from men. So there's a special type of porn they created for women, and it's called For Women. Now that's obviously the top because, apparently women still view porn for women more than men would. It makes sense. You also have second, lesbian. Third, you have solo male. And then fourth, you have hardcore. Notice how down at the bottom you've got orgy, fisting, and big dick at 39%. Like I said, these results are fascinating, but not really all that surprising. According to a 2008 study, heterosexual women had a stronger sexual response to naked women in certain poses than naked men. Now, what's interesting about that is that it might actually not have anything to do with gender. Now, to go to that, we go to Dr. Meredith Chivers. She's a professor that conducted that research. She says, quote, it matters less who is having sex, but how sensual they appear as they are having it. That's interesting. So it's not like heterosexual women like gay porn because it's gay. It's because of the level of sensuality and activity. Chivers told the New York Times that, quote, women don't physically seem to differentiate between genders in their sex responses. At least heterosexual women don't. For heterosexual women, gender didn't matter. They responded simply to the level of activity. I think that makes a certain amount of sense. I think women obviously will know each other's and their own anatomy better than a man might, and they do know how to get themselves or each other off, assuming that they're sexually active and sexually curious, which, if you're looking at porn, you might be sexually curious. That's one of those indicators. And so they tend to focus on what makes them feel good. They know what makes them feel good if they're sexually curious, and they know what makes other women feel good. So, like I said, it's not surprising to me at all to see straight women watching lesbian porn and not being gay. Because, once again, it's actually geared towards women. Now, of course, these results aren't really all that scientific, but it's really fascinating to look at where people fall on the spectrum of what kind of porn they like to look at the most.